Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. We are going to do a canning project today. I had mentioned on a couple videos ago that I was going to redo some of my canning videos because they were just older videos and I know the audio wasn't the best in them. We're going to redo the potatoes today. I have been running really low on my potatoes, and recently we just went to Costco and I picked up a couple of 10-pound bags of potatoes from Costco. They're not organic, they're not white, but we're going to use them because that's what I had available to buy. And I really need to get these restocked because we only have 3 quarts left in our pantry. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can can potatoes. There is the Rebel way, which I have been recommended to try. I have not tried it yet. It is not because I don't necessarily want to do it. I'm just wanting to get some potatoes in the pantry, and I have done this recipe before. I know how to do it, so I'm just wanting to get this project kind of done quickly. So I'm wanting to stick to what I know. But I have heard if you dry can potatoes, they tend to be a little less starchy. We're not going to try to Rebel can today. We're going to stick to this canning book. It is on what page are we on? 394. So we're just going to can white potatoes. Now my potatoes are not white. They are yellow, which is fine. You just don't want to use a russet potato because they tend to be a little bit more starchier than the white variety. I have not tried to can any other color of potatoes, but I'm pretty sure they would be perfectly fine. That is just what I've heard. I have never attempted to can a russet, so I don't know for sure if that's the fact or not. Anyways, we're gonna get some more quarts canned because I really need to get them into my pantry shelf. So I recently did a big Costco Azure standard grocery haul, but I think that is going to be next week's video. I'm not sure which one I'm going to put up first, whether it's going to be this one or that video. It honestly probably just depends on which I get edited first. Just got these potatoes, just plain golden potatoes or yellow potatoes. For the recipe in this canning book, we do have to peel all of the potatoes and quarter them. I don't like to put them into really small dices because number one, it's a lot quicker to do it this way. And number two, I don't want the potatoes to get too mushy. Doing the hot pack method, which is what we're going to do today, it tends to make the potatoes a touch bit mushy. But again, I'm wanting to stick to a recipe that I know what I'm doing because I want to get this done right away because I have another project that I need to get done today. So I've got my canner on the stovetop. I don't have it heated up yet. I need to go and get my jars. We're going to be doing these in quart-sized jars today. Because we are doing quart-sized jars and we are pressure canning these, we're going to be doing these for 40 minutes. We do not need to pre-sterilize our jars, but we do need to get them warm because we're going to be hot packing the potatoes in here. So I'm just going to get these jars heated up. You can do this either by putting them in warm soapy water and just kind of letting them warm up in the water. You could put them through the dishwasher. I personally put them in my oven. I just put my oven on really low and just get them hot that way. I have heard some controversy that that's not good to do it that way, but that's how I heat my jars up. So I just have my oven on 175 and I just leave it. And then when I'm getting close to doing the canning process, I just turn the oven off and then start to take the jars out as I need them. I'm also going to get out my countertop Presto pressure canner so that we can have 2 canners going at the same time because I think this one only fits 7 or 8 quarts in it. So we're going to be doing more than that because we're going to be canning up 20 pounds of potatoes. Well, maybe not quite 20 pounds because I do want to keep some of them fresh for fresh eating. I've not mastered making mashed potatoes with canned potatoes. I did get some instant potatoes off of Azure Standard and I have tried to love them because the convenience of them honestly is so easy. I'll show you what it looks like. These are the ones I got from Azure. So they're organic. I've tried to make them a couple of different ways. I've tried to make them with milk and add butter and do all of that stuff. And they taste a little bit better than if I were to use water to make them, but they're just not like a fresh mashed potato. They're good in a pinch. They're good for an emergency, but I don't love them. And we don't eat a lot of mashed potatoes, but I just like to use fresh potatoes to make my mashed potatoes. So I'm going to save a couple of them. I like to get everything just kind of prepared before I start doing the canning project, just so that everything's available. I'm going to take my 10-pound bag of potatoes and I'm just going to dump them into my sink. let's start the process of peeling. And I'm gonna get a light on. So we're just gonna peel all of these potatoes that we're gonna can, and then once we get them peeled, we'll just put them into this bowl. I'm actually gonna add some cold water to this bowl first. By putting them in water, it just keeps them from, you know, going brown, changing color. That should be good. I don't wanna fill it too much because we'll be adding the potatoes to it. Let's get a peeling. And any spots like this, I will cut them off when I cube my potatoes up. I don't want to peel too much of these skins off. Again, remember, I'm just following the directions in the ball canning book. If you feel comfortable leaving your skins on, you can definitely do that. These are a very, very thin skinned potato. So I think it's, again, considered rebel canning if you can it with the skins on, but you just got to do what you're comfortable doing in your own kitchen. So while I'm getting these potatoes peeled, I wanted to insert a little clip that I actually took yesterday for my daughter. She has been battling with some sinus infections and headaches and stuff, and so she wasn't feeling very well yesterday. So I thought I would cheer her up yesterday and send her a little garden update video. She loves seeing my garden. So I'm going to show you guys. Now, I did film it on my cell phone, so it is a straight up video, but I'm going to show you guys anyways because this is definitely my favorite time of year, and I love seeing everything starting to grow. And I was out in the garden yesterday for a couple hours getting some stuff planted, and I just want to share it with you guys. So while I'm getting these potatoes peeled, I'll just insert that tiny little clip. I think it's only like 3 minutes long, but I want to show you guys. So here it is. Give you a little garden tour. So this is my horseradish. It came back this year. So I'm excited to get horseradish. These are all the things I'm going to plant right now. Oh, and yesterday or Monday, I bought 2 elderberry plants. So I'm going to plant those over by where the willow tree was. And just now, I just planted my celery. So I have 2 different kinds in here. I have like the normal green celery, and this one is called Golden Boy, and it's going to be like a white celery. It's supposed to be more milder tasting, a little less like fibrous. So I'm excited about that. And we've got some kale there. And then there's all my garlics, my onions. And then I have some radishes here that are almost ready. They're just peeking in there. You see them? Right there. And then that is called marshmallow. That is a good medicinal thing. And then this is a new thing that I built this year. So I put a little garden bed all along here to help with the grass. So I planted some thyme, some nasturtiums, because they go really well with tomatoes, and I'm going to put my cherry tomatoes right there. So these flowers will climb up the trellis. And these are really good to eat. They almost have like a little peppery taste to them. So, and they're really pretty flowers. So I planted those there so that they go well with the tomatoes. And then this is pineapple sage, which makes a really yummy tea. And then I have collard greens right here, or Swiss chard. And then this right here is a safflower. So it's supposed to be like a really good tea, and you can use it to also like flavor dishes and stuff. So I'm going to try to grow it this year. So I have some planted there. And then I also have some planted right there. And then this is my rosemary. And then I have cilantro right there. And I am working on getting some extra cabbages and broccoli planted right here because this is a really shaded area, so they will do well here. And then that is my spinach, and I just picked it clean this morning. I have a whole sink full of spinach, which is awesome. And then that is my broccoli and cabbage, my kohlrabi. I got some beets in there and some peas, more onions, and then I'm saving these beds to plant my zucchinis probably in a couple weeks. And then right here, this empty spot, I'm going to put some shishito peppers right here. I'm probably going to do 3 plants so that this fence can help them lean up against them, and it gets pretty good sun here. So that's my little garden tour right now. I have more onions planted back there. But yeah. Oh, and then the raspberries. Raspberries are all starting to come up, and same with the grapes. So this is the raspberries right here. I was going to get another plant to put it right here, but raspberries kind of spread out, like you see how it traveled to here. So I'm just gonna let it organically just fill in there. So these beds will hopefully produce a lot of raspberries this year. So I'm realizing that this is almost 4 minutes long, but yeah, happy gardening. We got one bag peeled, so they're just sitting in the water. I think I'm gonna can a bag at a time. So I'm just gonna take all of my peelings now and just get them in my compost. Actually, you know what? We might as well just peel them all at once. I don't know why I would do that 2 separate times. Okay, we'll leave about that many, probably just a couple pounds. We got all of the potatoes peeled, so I'm just gonna put them back into the sink because we're gonna rinse them again. I'm gonna put some fresh water in here. We're gonna end up rinsing these about 2 more times. Just you wanna make sure that you're rinsing them really, really well. Rinse a couple off. Okay, so as far as cutting the potatoes, again, it is personal preference. You can even can them like this. You do not need to cut them even further than this. This is perfectly fine. I like to do sizes like this. Nice big chunk. So I cut it in half and then I quarter that half. The bigger potatoes, I do cut a little bit more pieces from them. It's personal preference how you want to do it. In my personal opinion, you just want to keep them big enough. They're not going to get mushy. So there are spots like this that I'm gonna cut out because you do not want to really have any blemishes when you are canning. So I'm just gonna cut away from it like that and just throw it in my compost. You wanna kind of make sure that the potato is in relatively good shape when you are canning it. The other thing that it does say in the canning book is make sure that your potatoes are not green. You wanna make sure that that potato is in good condition, no, you know, like bad spots like this. So I'm just gonna cut that bad spot away. Just make sure they're not moldy and, you know, relatively good shape. Now, the reason why I'm canning potatoes, because I know potatoes last a really, really long time. Usually they do. We have high humidity where I live, so sometimes things tend to sprout a little bit quicker here. They don't store as long, and I do not have a root cellar. The reason I'm canning these potatoes instead of just storing them is because I love the convenience of having a already peeled potato. It is so easy just to dump the jar into a strainer, rinse them off really quickly, and you know, cut them up a little bit smaller and throw them on a cookie sheet with seasoning and make roasted potatoes. You can fry them. It's just all the prep work is done for you. I know I said it on my canning video that I did last week that having canned goods is nice just for reassurance that you don't have to worry about things increasing in price. It's shelf stable. It's nice to have that. It's great for being prepared having canned goods. But more the reason I do canning is because I have busy nights and I like to have stuff already pre-prepped for me. So by me canning, I'm doing the prep work ahead of time, and I can just easily grab it from the pantry shelf and have a meal within like 15 minutes. Canning isn't just all about being prepared. Got them all chopped up, so we're just going to rinse them off again. It's the theme of canning potatoes is a lot of rinsing. Just gonna put them in the strainer over the sink. I have a really big stock pot. Well, not really big. I have a big stock pot. We're just gonna rinse these off again. Then we're gonna put them in the pot. I do not have any water in this pot yet. I'm also using really, really cold water to do this. This one does not look good in the middle of it. It looks a little rotted, so I'm gonna compost this one. We're gonna take our pot now and we are going to fill it with cold water. We'll probably fill it maybe up to about here, leaving maybe 2 to 3 inches of room on the top. Another rotted one. Just want to cover the potatoes with about 1 inch of water. Get it on the stovetop. Because we have them in somewhat smaller cubes, we only need to boil these for 2 minutes. If you are going to cut the potatoes and leave them whole, or you're going to leave them in really big quarter chunks, then you would boil them for 10 minutes. You want to just boil them until they're heated, but they are not soft. So once these come to a boil, we'll start the timer for 2 minutes and then we can get into the canning process. I also need to get some boiling water ready. So I'm gonna fill this up with water and I'm gonna get that on the back burner and get some water boiling, because once we put those potatoes into the jars, we're gonna top it with hot water. We're gonna leave the strainer and the big bowl out because once these are done cooking, we need to strain them, and you want to discard the cooking liquid. You do not want to use it in this situation because it is full of starch, and with canning potatoes, again, we're trying to reduce the amount of starch that ends up in the jar. So don't reuse this canning liquid. Just boil some fresh water. So we've got that going in the back. I've turned my kettle on. That is boiling some more water. I will turn the pressure canner on and get that on like a low heat and get that kind of going. And the other thing I'm gonna do is go and grab my other countertop canner and get that all situated. While I'm waiting for all that to boil, I'm gonna eat a cookie. I made these chocolate cookies with fresh milled soft white wheat, and it is a white chocolate cookie. Amazing. They are not sugar-free. They have lots of sugar in them. I'm gonna try to do this recipe, but instead of using sugar, I'm gonna try to play around with it and use honey in it instead and see if I like that any better. In the meantime, I'm gonna have a snack. Okay, I can hear this kind of boiling. Let's give it a check and see. Actually, it is this that I'm hearing rattling around. Let's check and see. Oh, we're slowly starting to come to a boil. It's not quite boiling yet, so we're not gonna start the timer yet. It's a pretty big pot, so it does take a while to get hot, and we were starting with very cold water, which is what the recipe recommended. I am editing the first part of this video because I just had to sit down for 2 seconds, and so I threw the clip in and thought I'm just gonna get this video started, and I realized that my microphone was turned almost completely off, so the audio is not the best. I'm working with my editing program to see if I can kind of fix it, but I'm just laughing because at the beginning of the video, I actually even made a comment like, we're gonna redo this video because I have better audio. Technology and me, we don't work together very well. I am not very tech savvy, which this is probably not the best thing for me to do as a hobby, but we're gonna learn together. So the beginning part might have a little bit of quieter audio. Hopefully this one, I've fixed the problem. It's just I realized my microphone was turned down really low. So we're gonna wait for that to boil. Once we get to the right amount of boil, I will show you guys what it looks like to the boil we need it at, and then we'll start that timer for 2 minutes. Oh, I need to show you guys something. As I'm talking, I realized I could see something black in the background. Can you see that? Let's see if we can zoom in. Coming towards me. That is a jumping spider. I don't really want to try to kill it because it jumps when you try to kill them. I also really don't want it jumping on me. Okay, we'll just pretend we didn't see that. Oh, shoot. As I'm looking at the cookbook, we got to boil over. Okay, so we're boiling now. Show you guys what it looks like. So we'll set the timer for 2 minutes. And we will maybe attempt to clean some of that up. Oh, it's everywhere. You really do need a really, really big pot for this. Okay, you guys just fell, and then it just told me that my memory card was erased. I'm hoping it wasn't erased. It's a good day. Good day. So anyways, we're gonna get these potatoes drained. Hopefully you've seen what it took for me to get to this point. So we're gonna try to drain these. In batches. Shake them off a bit. And then we have our big bowl here. We're just going to put these into the bowl. I'm not gonna rinse them or anything, but you probably could. Wearing glasses. They steam up all the time. Okay, so there is the potatoes. They are not cooked. They're not hard, so they're perfect. Right, we have our hot jars out, and we are going to put the potatoes into the hot jars, and we're gonna leave 1-inch headspace. And then we have our boiling water, and we're just going to pour that into the jars, and again, we're gonna leave 1-inch headspace on these. These potatoes are really hot. That's why I'm not using my fingers to do this. Alrighty, and then we're gonna come in and we are going to debubble just to make sure we're getting some of those air bubbles that may be trapped at the bottom, just to get them out before we can. You also just want to double check your headspace after you're done debubbling. You can buy a fancy debubbler. I use a chopstick. I always have. Works good. We need to get a rag to clean the top part of this because we're not doing anything sticky, but there's definitely some starch that can end up on the top. So you want to make sure you're cleaning the rims. And then we're going to use our lids. I'm using ball lids, so I don't need to preheat them. And then we'll get our rings on to fingertip tight. The other thing, you can add salt to this if you would like, but as I mentioned in all of my canning videos, I don't add salt to my stuff that I can. I always like to be able to add and control it after I've done canning. Just in case I'm gonna serve it to somebody that can't really have salt, I don't wanna have everything pre-salted. So I always leave the salt out, but if you do want to add salt, I believe it is 1 teaspoon per quart and half a teaspoon or maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt to pint. The directions are in the canning book. So I am gonna let that water cool down just a minute because that is boiling hot and I do not want to put jars in. Yes, these jars are also very hot, but I don't want to have a broken jar. Okay, that water isn't quite boiling as hard. We'll add our jars in here. Alrighty, this is our last jar for this canner. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7, right? 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, so 7 fit in here, 7 quarts. So we're gonna get the lid put on and then we're gonna turn it back up and then we are going to bring this to pressure. So then we have some other canning jars in here that we're gonna get out and get filled because this is how much we have left. We have a lot of potatoes still. So we got 4 more quart-sized jars. I have this many potatoes that's not gonna fit into a quart-sized jar. So I think I'm just going to make a little tiny potato salad for myself with those because they're just need to be cooked just a little bit more. This is why I love having that other countertop canner because it handles small little batches. So we're able to get 2 batches going at the same time, which saves me so much time. Okay, we have everything beeping in here. I need to set this regulator on can, and then we need to press that, and then that's gonna go for 40 minutes. We are venting this right now, and we still have 3 more minutes on that. After that 3 minutes, then we will put this little guy on it, and then that will go for 40 minutes. I really, really love this pressure canner. I can't recommend it enough because I literally just press that button and now it will do the rest for me. I don't have to worry about it. This one, because I have that regulator on the top, the weighted gauge, I really just, again, put the thing on, start the timer when it gets to pressure. We'll wait for those to get done, and then we'll come back, get them out of the canner. Okay, so that is finishing canning. We are going to leave it here until it comes down from pressure. This little thing drops down and we see that this is completely at 0. So once that happens, we'll set our timer for 10 minutes and then we'll take the lid off and then set it for another 10 minutes and just let it cool down before we take the jars out. This is also done. It is just on its cool down thing. So that will just beep when it's ready for me to take the jars out. So that is it. We got all of our potatoes done. So how many did we get? So we got 11 quarts for our pantry shelves, which is amazing. Potatoes are one thing that I don't like getting low on the pantry shelf. I would say in a week, we eat maybe 1 to 2 quarts of potatoes a week. So it is something that I definitely like to have quite a bit of stocked up on my pantry shelf. So we got that project done. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me while we got that done. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. It really gives me motivation to really keep up and keep making these videos for you guys. I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.